Welcome to part 3 of the Game Club.
What's up?
We're going to talk about news of the week. We have to be very serious this time because every time we lost control, Chris just turned off the camera.
It's been narballs, dude.
Just don't explain it this time.
Yeah, that's
just
okay.
don't explain it. Okay.
I'm not the one who has a job that he has to worry about.
All right. The first piece of news for this week is all about No Man's Sky. And Chris, I'm sure you'll have some thoughts on this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they are releasing their first major patch. I think they released one very early on, but after that early on patch, this is their first one since all the controversy. And it seems like the head of Sean Murray, right? He's the head of the studio.
Sure.
He's still radio silent, but No Man's Sky, the studio itself, kind of put out an announcement along with this patch saying that this is going to be a foundational patch to build a lot of things on top of. So they're investing. They want No Man's Sky to be as great as they said it would be. And so first of all, let's talk about the patches, and then I want to kind of talk about No Man's Sky for a minute. So the patch itself is going to add base building, I believe, right?
Well, no, I like building stuff.
Yeah, that's true. It's also going to add a survival mode, which according to Hello Games is a much more challenging endurance experience. So I'm curious what that will be about. And so base building, and I imagine with base building, they're probably going to try to develop maybe some kind of
Subnautica type thing.
What's that?
The game where you build your little underwater shelter.
Oh no, I wasn't thinking about that. What I was gonna say is, with in my head, what follows base building is kind of more dynamic, more deep systems for creating ships. And if you get that system in, then actual ship battles. Like, this is me thinking ahead in the future. Like, what follows base building, right? Because I don't know, it just makes sense.
Ship building. Dual Universe is working on that. They're still. I think they just finished a Kickstarter or something like that, but they're working on a space exploration game where you build your own everything. You build your ship, you build your base, everything. It seems like any
Kickstarter post Star Citizen is late to the game, though, isn't it? About space games.
Well, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, so the question I had, or the reason why I want to bring up this news story is, Chris, do you think Hello Games can dig themselves out of the PR hole they created?
Maybe. I was reading about this update, and it actually made me kind of want to go play No Man's Sky.
Wow, that's surprising because
I have been critical of the art style. It's beautiful art, and I don't mean to take away from the artist, but it just reminds me too much of Lisa Frank.
Yeah, which for...
I have a picture for those of you who are not as old as I am, and who may not.
Let's see this.
There's Lisa Frank, yeah.
Remember all the girls in elementary school that sat around you and wouldn't give you any time of day?
Nope.
That's the art that was on their folders and their pens.
That's not a problem all of us had, James.
Yeah, well, none of us were in the Philippines being ignored by all people.
Oh, gross. Keep going.
Anyway, yeah,
it's too
I'm
bright.
curious.
It's so bright. It makes me crazy.
Yeah, it seems to me that the environment we're in right now with the internet is that the internet will be quick to hate and cut you down, but if you stick to your guns, the internet will forgive.
Maybe.
You think it's a maybe?
Yeah. If you stick to your guns, the internet may forgive you.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like you're able to convince a hardcore fan base to build up. I mean, you might not be the next Overwatch, right? But you can still get enough people to sort of justify your existence.
You can still be the next Uncharted, though.
There's enough of a meritocracy that if you do it well, you can succeed.
They will come.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah,
I might give it a shot.
Yeah, I want No Man's Sky to be a success. I mean, I don't even play it. I actually have no reason to want this, but there's something about a small studio shooting for the stars, and even though they made mistakes along the way, I want to see them rewarded for taking chances.
Do you like the Rudy of video games?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I mean, Rudy may only get to play one
play in one game.
Yeah, but still, it's
it's more than I ever played.
Because I mean, the thing is, what happened to Hello Games, whether it's justified or not, what the unintended consequence is that probably convinced a lot of other people not to take a shot, right? That we don't want to accidentally fall into the same pit of despair that Hello Games fell into. And I want to see more indies, more AAA developers too, just really shooting for the stars and trying to,
for it.
yeah, going for it, and not just having to create another first-person shooter or third-person stealth game, because those are the games that are selling right now. I want to see really creative, awesome games. I would like to see somebody. There seems to be like a big push for space, open world universes.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that same kind of thinking applied to a fantasy like world, where somebody makes a game that will like
Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah, except like with the same sort of like with the random population and the generation and all that stuff.
Procedural.
Like, all the procedural stuff. Yeah. That would appeal to me a lot more than like an open universe. Being able to
You want No Man's Sky Witcher edition.
Exactly. That's exactly. I need a Witcher that won't end after my 1,000 hours of playing.
Yeah.
Are you all the way through it yet?
I mean, I've beat the game a long time ago, and I beat the first DLC. I've purposely not beat the second DLC.
Something to look forward to in
Because
life.
it gets so lonely after you finish quest lines.
Right. I'm kind of purposely doing a bunch of like random side things before I finish off any more story.
So you're gonna finish all the side jobs before?
I'm gonna finish all the ones that are interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is like,
Will there come a time where you beat every aspect of that game?
no, because that's an investment to do everything. That's what I call personally conquering a game.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
conquer
yeah.
that game, to 100% that game, there's a lot of small stuff to do. Which, see, what they did was they wanted to make a world that was so populated with so many things to do that as you went through the story, you always felt like there was like a living set of other things to do.
Mm-hmm.
You felt like you're in a world that always had a lot of problems. You're really not supposed to try to do everything in that game. You're supposed to do as much as you want to do as you go through the big stuff. And in that way, they're very successful. But some of us crazy people are doing a little bit too much of the side stuff, too.
He's gonna 100% by next week, Chris.
No.
Back on track.
Back on track. Next piece of news, Chris. We're going to talk quickly about Telltale, The Walking Dead, Season 3. It's called The Walking Dead, A New Frontier. It's got the release date. Yeah? We never did beat the Michonne.
You didn't like it.
I didn't much like it. It wasn't attracting me all that much. I don't think I like Michonne all that much. Where do you...
I'm a fan of it. I think Michonne's the best character on the TV show. Next to Glenn, but he had his face smashed in.
I mean, maybe she's more interesting on the TV show, but in the game, I thought she was a fairly boring
one-dimensional character.
Yeah. So maybe Telltale mucked up her character a bit or something like that. Cause
Could be.
I don't watch the show enough to tell you whether she's a good character everywhere else. But on the Michonne Telltale series, it was...
But you also only gave it like one half of an episode.
Oh, we played a whole episode and a half.
I mean, out of 3 episodes, right?
So we played half of it?
There's a lot of time still to develop, man.
Yeah? Okay.
All characters have slow starts.
Okay. So Telltale has announced that The New Frontier is coming out on December... Oh, where's that date? December 20th. So just before Christmas, we'll get the first episode.
Mhm.
And it's going to continue to star... what's her name? Clementine. And I'm excited about that.
I wonder how much older she's going to be now.
I kind of feel like they did well, but I thought they closed her story so well in season 2.
I don't remember this. It's been so long.
Well, it kind of depends on what decisions you make. If you go one...
What was our ending?
We did 2 endings, remember? But if you go in one direction, you end up getting to this city, and I felt like that really closes the story.
Yeah.
But if you go another direction, you end up kind of somewhat on your own, back in a fortified area, and that felt very open.
I'm just glad they're back to doing the thing that made them great.
The Walking Dead games.
Yeah, just like stop doing side stuff, please. Just only focus on the.
I wish they'd
Dead.
give us a Wolf Among Us
Another
too.
Wolf Among Us. Chris, have you played Wolf Among Us?
No, I have not.
Oh, you can rip off Tweedledee's arms. It's so satisfying, like on a primal level. Anyway.
So the smart thing to do when you're talking about Telltale games is either A, just drop all the cash for the season pass, and you end up getting usually about a $5 discount that way.
What's all the cash? How much does that equate to?
$30 for
That's
the
not
whole
bad.
season. Or alternatively, wait until it gets offered. Like Telltale will eventually put this thing on sale, the whole thing for $5 or $10. So if you can wait, you'll about 2 years from now, you'll. I mean, if you can wait, it'll be dirt cheap.
Yeah, but
Right.
not worth it.
You don't think so?
No, dude, get it right away.
Okay. All right.
Spend money.
Spend money. Spend all the monies.
That's why
It's good for the economy.
Yeah, dude.
All right, moving on. We're going to talk about
We can just print
Ubisoft a
more.
little bit. So, Ubisoft is changing some of its principles to how it charges for DLC. I thought this was pretty interesting. Some quotes here. I'm getting them from gamesindustry.biz. So the key is if it's not adding something on top of the actual experience of the game, then it is no good because you'll be asking for more money for the wrong reasons. So that's their like primary thinking here. And they also continue to say, also, if the content is compulsory for the gamers, it is no good as well. And I find those comments to be odd, right? Don't you want DLC to be kind of compulsory in order to sell it?
I remember when Halo released map packs, and they were basically required to keep playing in multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no sympathy for people who didn't pick them up because they were great, and I wanted us all to be on the new maps.
Dude, they were
Yeah.
well done, too.
Yeah. And it was annoying if you got in a playlist with people who didn't have them. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of okay with some compulsory stuff.
I don't understand how this like hasn't been figured out. I mean, it comes down to this. It seems like added story content is acceptable DLC as long as you don't charge too much for it. I mean, if you're going to add like a 10-hour
Yeah.
story content, you can charge up to $20 for it, right? That seems fine for like 10 hours of story. Or alternatively, add things that are aesthetic, like new suits and maybe new weapons, as long as it's not for a multiplayer game.
Right.
Like, that's where it gets a little evil. I guess and then for what games that have multiplayer, new maps, maybe new characters. But that seems like pretty obvious, straightforward stuff. I don't know why we're still struggling over how to sell DLC. It seems so simple in my mind. Am I wrong about this, Chris?
No, I'm with you. It seems like people are overthinking it.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't like, maybe Ubisoft needs to pull back on this, is I remember playing through the last Assassin's Creed that I played, and there was just a lot of in-game advertising for the DLC stuff. Like I would be like, oh, this is a cool suit. It's in the game. Like I'm flipping through content in play.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's a cool suit. What? I have to buy this?
Yeah, that was lame.
Like with real cash?
Yeah.
Like you've put a
But it's
DLC
not even
advertisement
it's
in
like
the game?
Ubibucks or whatever it is.
Right.
I forget what they... So you have to go buy the tokens and then use the tokens.
Yeah, it's like going to the movie theater and watching a movie, and like partway through the movie, they're like, if you want to know about this plot thread,
Yeah.
throw down another $5. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
They have a little card swiper right on the seat in front of you.
Yeah. Just a little like headset to put on, wait for everybody else to catch up. Continuing on with some Ubisoft news here. There's been, I don't know how they can't get away from graphics drama, but again, so the new Assassin's Creed Ezio collection, there's some visual
Yeah.
controversy. You hear about this?
Yeah, the bugs.
Yeah, there's some bugs, including the favorite one everybody's putting up pictures of is there's an NPC who looks ridiculous. So check this out. Josh, on the original...
I really should have sent this to me before we started.
Oh, just go. So check this out, Josh. I just want to get his reaction. That's the way it looked like in the original game.
Uh-huh.
Some people are getting this in the new remake.
What the heck, dude?
Yeah.
It's a pretty rad hat, though. Or is that his hair?
So this is an NPC who randomly generates, so not everybody will necessarily see him. But if you do, there's an NPC that just looks visually ridiculous compared to the original.
This one?
Yep, that's the one. Throw him up on the
Yeah.
back screen so some people can laugh at Josh.
Just from IGN.
IGN's always helpful with these things.
Yes.
I love IGN, by the way. A lot of people like to hate on IGN, but they put up such good stuff.
Yeah, it was really weird when you left there to start your own. It's crazy.
Not a lot of people know that I was originally called Greg.
Making up lies again.
Yeah, I'm making up lies. So there you go. So that's
Totally
the
remastered.
remastered.
Worth the wait.
Oh, why can't Ubisoft just get things visually right? You know?
Sorry.
I'm going the wrong way. Here we go. Gotta pull it back this way. Nope.
Trying to move his eyes. It looks like Mr. Potato Head.
And he still has attitude.
You got a lot of attitude for someone so ugly.
You're not allowed to be. Well, never mind. Okay. Moving right along.
Why can't Ubisoft get the graphics right for some reason? Like there's, I mean, I
Don't
guess
they have like 500 people at that company. It's a big company.
It seems like they have a lot of like also a lot of people who are working apart.
Yeah.
Like when you follow the when you follow the credits of any like Assassin's Creed game, you see all these separate little studios.
Yeah, all over the world.
Yeah, and that's
Maybe
probably
there's
where
just
the
bad
real challenge is.
communication in between them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wonder how many of those studios just get cut every time one of these things happen. It's like, oh, this NPC glitch was some like, studio in Quebec.
Like the CIA.
Yeah.
Our Quebec station is burned. They're in the wind.
All right, moving on. Gearbox news. The CEO of Gearbox, we all know this gentleman, Randy Pitchford. He's kind of an outspoken CEO. I appreciate Randy Pitchford because Randy Pitchford because he headed up Borderlands 1 and 2, which I love the Borderlands series. And he's got some tweets out there suggesting that we might be getting some news here in December on the new Duke Nukem game. Now, I was fully expecting this because Randy Pitchford secured the rights to Duke Nukem a few years back, released the that Duke Nukem game. Well, it was Duke Nukem Forever, right?
Yeah.
And his studio didn't make that game. They just got the rights and the assets to it, and they kind of just topped it off and finished it and put it out there. And it was a trash heap of a game, but they didn't make it. But the reason they did that is so they could make the next Duke Nukem game. And I'm excited. I think Duke Nukem has promise, right? It's sort of like every 13-year-old's version of a man's man.
Yeah.
And
like an 80s action star.
Yeah, and he's the kind of joke that can go wrong real fast. But I think that in the makers of the hands of the makers of Borderlands 2, they could do something really great with Duke Nukem. I kind of thought that they might have made Duke a character on the next Borderlands, right? Because you can pick between usually
really
4 to 6 characters, and I would have liked that to made him to
That'd be
actually
funny.
just insert him into the Borderlands series. Maybe they still will. I don't know.
All right, you heard it here first.
Yeah. So, what do you think about Duke Nukem? You excited to play Duke Nukem again?
I will play it.
Why did you play the original Duke Nukem?
I don't remember. We didn't play it in like 1996, 97 on the computer.
Yeah. Was it the 3D one? It was the Duke Nukem 3D.
Which one did we play, Chris? You had it. It was your game.
I had all of them, I think.
What was cool about Duke Nukem is they put out.
I liked everything it did.
You could find rocket launchers in the bathroom.
Yeah, they put out.
The map builder. Remember that?
Yeah, well, bunch of fans use the map builder, make their own maps, and then the original company that owned Duke Nukem collected 1,000 fan maps and put it out on a disc for like $5.
That's pretty cool. I just remember because it originally came out in like mid 90s, right?
I think that's the first game I played online.
Yeah.
Well, there's a much older 2D one, but the big one, the one that made headlines, was it's called Duke Nukem 3D, and it was it was just after Doom. Yeah. And very much similar to the Doom aesthetic.
Yeah, and I just thought it was so funny that you could actually go into the bathroom and pee.
Yeah.
Right? And he would go, and he would just...
And he pulled a bunch of lines from Evil Dead.
I thought it was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. It's time to chew bubble gum. What was it?
And I'm come here to chew gum and kick arse, and I'm all out of gum.
Yeah.
That's from Roddy Piper said that.
I think Roddy Piper stole it from the Evil Dead. I think that came from Ash.
Did you say Evil Dead first?
I think
because was it in the first Evil Dead movie?
I think so.
Yeah,
it's not in the first. It's in the second.
He said
one.
in Army of Darkness.
Yeah, he did say in but Army of Darkness is still the 80s.
Yeah, but I was just trying to think of which movie was that? They Live?
I think that
doesn't
might
matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in They Live.
So you're saying that
Roddy
Piper said it in
In They Live. He said
that would probably be earlier than Army of Darkness.
They Live came out in 1988.
Oh,
and
really?
Army of Darkness.
That's much later than I expected.
Came out in 1992 or 93.
Well, still. Okay.
Thank you, Google.
Last piece of news.
Second
Google.
to last piece of news.
Oh yeah, Josh
Got
has
some
to
filthy
update
casual
us.
corner news.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll save that to the end.
You?
We'll save that to the end, folks.
How dare
so you can just turn the video right off.
You can stop watching right here.
Okay. So, last piece of news that matters: Xbox One. Xbox One game streaming coming to the Oculus Rift in December. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So now,
I guess
the warning here is it's not that Xbox One games are going to become virtual reality games. Instead, it's going to be a theater mode where basically it looks like you have a big screen TV in front of you in a VR space.
Huge. It's bigly.
And it's bigly.
Which is a word, by the way.
Is it?
Yes, it is. An
Or was it
adverb.
just added to it?
Nope. It's a word. It is an adverb.
Bigly is an adverb.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, interesting. And you'll basically look like you're watching, or you're playing your Xbox One games on a big screen.
But
TV
I have a
in
big
virtual
screen.
space. But it could be even bigger, Chris.
For $800.
Yeah. This is probably Sony, Microsoft's first steps into.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not down on VR. I'm just down on being unable to afford it.
Okay. I thought
Make VR great again.
would this at all attract you to an Oculus Rift?
Nah, not
Because
theater
you're an
mode.
Xbox. You have an Xbox system, right?
Yeah. Nah, when I go VR, it'll be on my PC.
Okay, so it'll be a Vive.
Yeah, probably.
Or will you go for like the alternatives that are coming out probably in the next few years?
I'll probably go for a Vive. I don't know. We'll see. Depends on when I get the money together, which maybe never. So,
Not subtle.
but I'm American, you know. Just temporary embarrassed millionaire.
All right, so most of you can just turn off the video right now. But for those of you who are gross enough to stay, what do you got for us, Josh?
All right, man. This is a big week. This is a big week for Clash Royale in particular. So Elite Barbs are now out, and if you are a fan of the game at all,
Elite bards? They
Elite
sing like the
Elite
coolest
bards.
songs.
Heavy metal! Elite Barbs, or Elite Barbarians, they pack the punch of like a fireball, but they're faster than spear gobs. And this is important because as the landscape of Clash Royale is ever changing, you want to be able to come up with new strategies. And this should be in Game of the Year contentious standings right now.
Contentious indeed.
And so that it's not
Shallow
in there.
and pedantic.
So also pick up your local word of the day calendar at Amazon.com. It's pretty good. So
Were you sponsored? You did tell us?
well, here this has me in a real
Well, he
picture.
does like
This has
crappy
me-
casual games. He probably does have cheesy sponsors.
Okay, as they try and derail me at every turn with their pejorative commentary, I get a little bit flustered, but my vernacular shall continue to increase nonetheless. So anyway, this update is big. New card strategy.
Adverbs.
New card strategy. They allow you to send out barbs that are faster. They can take down a tower in a few hits. Huge deal. Wow, you're like just legit sighing over here. You sat through 15 minutes of news. So, fun game. New clone spell coming out in
Not
the
as
next
good as
couple
15
weeks.
minutes of nudes.
Okay. And, well, there goes that. So, be sure. I don't even know where to go with that.
Where
You did it. You derailed it.
Yep. Yeah, totally got me off.
Filthy Casual Corner is now going to be like just a gauntlet for you every time.
So the Elite Barbarians are pretty cool. They come out in pairs as opposed to the 4 regular barbs. It's super fun to try. It's a common card that can be leveled, and it'll be pretty OP once you reach somewhere around level 10, but in tournament standard mode at 9. It works pretty well, though. It is a pretty high elixir cost at 6. It probably should be somewhere down around 4 for what they're able to do, and that'll probably be some balance changes when the new metas come
I hear
out.
elixirs are now legal in California.
And so you'll be sure to want to watch that. If you run elites with the log, you got to be a little bit careful because stuff like that is already costing you 10 elixir for your push. Better to use as a defensive card that will double into a counter push with like
I like
a
that
hog
movie.
rider or
What is it,
something like that.
Chris Evans?
So got through it. Screw you guys because that
I'm
was
going home.
that was fire.
The
That-
sad part was Josh used to be a really good console gamer.
I was.
He was a
um,
wicked Halo player.
And
Wicked
yeah,
bad.
dude, there was actually for a time we got picked up to try and go to MLG and enter in. There was a guy who was going to front the cash for us to go play. But alas, I have more important things to do with my life now, like casual gaming. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
All right, we're out.